Hey y'all, I wanted to jump on and talk a little bit about connective tissue and the importance of that matrix-like web within the bowspring system and honestly within an understanding of the body to look at a system which proliferates everything. Connective tissue is across the entirety of our structure, around every organ, from the bottoms of the feet to the fingers, all the way up and into the skull. This sheath of connective tissue, which is extremely alive and electric, and where our synapses travel through and our sensitivity arises from. It's really crucial to know and understand what this system really is. And it's powerful because when it's engaged as a uniform system, so much is possible, right? We're very much used to in our culture developing muscles at a time, singular muscle groups at a time. Like, oh, we're going to the gym, it's leg day, right? Or, oh, we'll go swimming today because we want to work on our arms. Or it's core workout day, which everybody wants. More core, more core. And my question about that is, like, what really is it about this six-pack that makes it so sexy that we would flatten our low back, crunch our organs, diminish the space in our spine, put strain on our neck and shoulders, overwork our hip flexors? When we work on the core and isolate these areas of the body, what happens is, we build bulk, we build tone, we build muscular definition. But if you think about the connective tissue like a wetsuit, right, it lives across the whole body and like a skinny jean effect hugs in uniformly, concentrically hugging into the very core of the bone, which the bone itself is connective tissue. Have you ever thought of that? It just is more and more and more dense. But even still, bones are quite porous. So this connective tissue is very porous, right? I like to think of it like memory foam in the body. Yeah, so the longer you hold a position, not for the hour that you work out, right, when you're training your muscles, but for the other 23 hours of your day, when you're resting in the fetal position for 8 hours in bed, or when you're sitting in a C-curved fetal position when you're at your desk at work, right, or when you're pushed into this rounded position, fetal position again, when you're driving your car. Right? The way that ergonomics has really protected us is to push us where the nervous system literally shuts down. As I tuck tail and drop my head forward, I'm cutting myself off, and sure, it feels relaxing because we can go a little bit into parasympathetic state where we're resting and digesting, but we're at no place to be driving a car, right? Or writing emails that have, big important you know what I mean, messages to be sent out to the world. We shouldn't be sending them from this collapsed position, but rather a really empowered place. So the memory foam that holds the body, this connective tissue, I think of it like shrink wrap as we get older. We lose movement, we become more stagnant, we lose range of motion, and therefore we lose the sense of gliding, the sense of fluidity that often accompanies our tissues. As we're younger, the tissues are more pliable, there's more juiciness, right? There's more that sort of glowing skin because there's just plump, right? Where that youth, that glow of youth and health, right, really is shown through our biggest organ, right, through our skin. And so as the connective tissue gets dried up and as the muscles even fall off the bone or disengage, or in the other direction, right, as there's extra weight added to the muscles, right, then the connective tissue gets really tight and dry and rigid. And if you think of it like shrink wrap, pulling those layers apart are almost impossible, right, because it literally sticks to itself. There are all these adhesions across the body. Connective tissue is scar tissue, right? It's just very condensed. If you have a shoulder injury or a surgery, there's going to be this gathering of tissues to protect and create more space and support for the structure. What's so important for us to understand about the body on every level, right? Whether it's through injury in the physical bones, whether it's through disease and inflammation or chronic pain, the body is always trying to heal itself. It's always trying to get it to a place of stasis where it can maintain a sense of calm, where it's not always in that fight or flight mode of defensiveness. When we learn how to uniformly tone the body, it's like a big hug. right? Think about a crying babe and how a mother holds her babe in arms and rocks it after swaddling it tight. And once that swaddle is there and the skin-to-skin contact and the rock and the pulse of the heart and the tone of the breath, but that consistently safe and soothing practice of hugging is across the planet universally calming. So what if every cell in our body was able to get a uniform hug, which can actually help keep the inner spaces of the cells clear and clean and not toxic? What if we gave ourselves a hug from the outside, right? Where the uniform tone literally gave insulation to the sensitive nerves and to the strong muscles. And as we give that hug around the whole side of the body, the connective tissue uniformly toning, and then we push from the inside out, oh, when we're holding that double S curve, there is some amazing detox that takes place. And I mean gushing, right? Like when you unfold saran wrap, right, you're going to start to see the scar tissue unfold and maybe a little residual of what that shape was. So there's going to be a releasing of these patternings as you make more space in the ribs, as you allow this core to no longer be crunched and tighter, but rather narrowed, long, and strong. All of this unfurling that peels back like taffy, which can take years. In fact, will probably take the rest of your life. Lucky for us, we're never done doing the work, right? As you peel those layers back and more and more and more, but particularly at the beginning of Bowspring, particularly when you engage the connective tissue, the sweat factor is unbelievable, right? I believe some teachers in Tulsa maybe have coined the term fascial sweat, or they use it. I've picked it up, I don't know, wherever I got it, that's where I think. Fascial sweat. Right? This idea that when you get into the myofascial system, which is muscles and connective tissue, which muscles are connective tissue as well, bones as well, right? Tendons and ligaments, all those things. But we're really understanding now the interstitium, the layers in between the layers. Yeah, and like literally when you pull space, you can see the matrix, the web, and it's so dimensional. It's not top to bottom only. It's not right to left only. It's deep. And so as you pull it apart, you can see these like geometric and crystallized forms that are porous, that light can shine through. So none of this, right, in our body is so hardened and unmalleable that we're out of luck. And I just want to really empower people with that, right? Because nobody is stuck unless they choose to be stuck and actually don't move, right? We can literally gain a whole new perspective on life by peeling open the connective tissue of the belly, right? We can literally find more energy, more lightness, more youth-like vitality by waking up and molding the connective tissue of our glutes to a point of the power position where when toned, the connective tissue holds the bones in place, the muscles to their defined definition, right? You can see the shape of the muscles in their most engaged form as the connective tissue gives it a hug. The nervous system then isn't shut down in order to relax, but it feels rather so protected and so held, not cut off and hardened, but hugged, right? On all sides. Just think, you know, when someone's having a rough day and you just put pressure on them, or they have these compression blankets, I think, they give to people that lays on their body. That's so important and powerful, right? To calm the nervous system, but with Bowspring and with this enlivened and dynamic engagement of the uniform tone of the body, the double S curve, and a push from the inside, that's where the nervous system is so ready. It's in this relaxed place because the heightened senses are taking in all the information around, but not threatened by any of them and not overwhelmed. Able to take in all the information and make a quick split-second decision to spring on our toes, but stay calm the whole time. Right? So I really encourage you to look at this connective tissue system throughout these next few weeks and months as you're practicing your Bowspring and moving deeper into layers upon layers upon layers that are just shedding. Like extra weight that we just don't need. Let them go, let them go, let them go. Because they are creating a new memory. As we mold, we are finding a new form internally to inform the shape of the tissues, which create a pathway that's not jagged and rigid and hard and overdeveloped on one side and underdeveloped on another, but it's a uniform concentric tone, then the memory that the tissues are forming is one of empowerment, right? So posture leads to attitude, or attitude can change your posture. It works both ways. And your outlook on life can really evolve and grow when you feel more empowered in the body. Just remember, no one is stuck at the situation that they're at unless they choose to be and literally don't move their body. So what looks like a visual, right? Like you can see there's just this normal pattern here. But like the connective tissue, if I was to pull, see how the pattern gets really skewed, right? The whole shape and geometry of the connective tissue gets skewed when we bulk up one muscle group. Like if I'm really just doing arms and I'm trying to build just right here, my bicep and tricep, you've seen people where the muscle just like mounds up, right? That connective tissue has no choice but to go towards where the muscle mounds, right? Does that make sense? So when you start to feel the back side of the arm engage just as much as the forearm, as the front, and then the forearm engage in a balanced way as the upper, and then the sides of the ribs engage in just as much of a tone as the arms, then all of that bulk, right, starts to distribute and the weight is rebalanced. This, you guys, is so brilliant that to think about it in a logical way outside of a aesthetic or a yoga place, it's logical. We're trying to relate to the tissues that for years we just pushed aside with our autopsies. As we did these breakthroughs and we had these breakthroughs, we're starting to understand more what this tissue does. It's like rebar. It's so strong and powerful. And as we learn how to build it and allow the strength and tone of it to be uniform, whew, the sweat, as I mentioned earlier, is prolific, especially at the beginning, but you'll hit layers where you'll maybe not sweat as much, and then all of a sudden you'll just start pouring sweat again, and be ready to go through another threshold. Be ready to walk through the ring of fire at that point, because trust me, that is you making progress. That is you taking life into your own hands. That is you looking at the science of where we are in modern day and applying an understanding of empowerment and individual accountability. The connective tissue is such the incredible feedback that we get the feedback from. I call it the intrinsic feedback loop. Because there's so many more nanoreceptors in the tissues than the muscles themselves, you're getting feedback throughout the entire body and building sensitivity as you direct the connective tissue in a healthy directionality. We talk about it, right? We literally mold ourselves, not the wrong way. Don't you rub me the wrong way. I'll literally hit you and move your hand. But if you're rubbing me in the right way, I'll purr like a kitten. Because it's building me strength, it's calming my nervous system, and it's toning my body to this incredible form where the bones are held uniformly, and anything that's excessive, extra, unnecessary, like weight or bulk, it starts to balance and level itself out. This is not about vanity, but about using the body in its optimal function to create a healthy, uniform form. So I really just love to introduce that connective tissue conversation. Give yourself some time to really think about it, do some research on it. But this is powerful stuff. When you learn how to tone yourself, hug in on all sides, you can create a life that is limitless, because you create a tone and then you push from the inside, you grow in every direction, and there's no glass ceiling. Only that to which you believe is the limitations you're going to continue to meet. So I hope that you find this investigation, this curiosity with your body and with the connective tissue. And if you're not sure what that means, or if you want to ask questions, reach out to me. There's more ways to learn. But I want you to really understand that this is an incredibly powerful understanding of the body now that we didn't have 10, 15, 20 years ago. And it's time. We're ready. We are superheroes in the making, and it's time to tap into our fullest potential. I love you guys, and I will talk to you all soon. Have a beautiful day.